What's up, guys? Today I got a really neat video. I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Ray Guarino. He is the host of MotorMouth Radio. Super funny, super educational program that I think you guys would enjoy. This guy's a hoot, so y'all come check him out. All right, guys, I got a really cool dude here. I listen to him every Sunday. He's got an amazing radio show. And I hope you guys will actually take a little bit of time this Sunday to check him out because those guys are awesome. So, Ray, if you will, introduce yourself to everybody.
Thank you, Clay. I'm Ray Guarino. I'm one of the co-hosts of MotorMouth Radio. You see my banner behind me. We are an automotive talk show up here on Long Island in New York. We're that little thing that sticks out on the map. So, like when this tropical storm came up the coast, it kind of skips along, it hits Hatteras, and then it boomerangs out. We're usually the next thing that it hits. So that's where we're at. And we started doing a talk show that would give advice to people how to fix their cars. Guys would call up. I'm trying to do a brake job on my Camry. I don't know where the spring goes, or they would want to diagnose a problem, and we would help them out. All sorts of general automotive, and then we morphed. We said, listen, if it's got an engine or wheels, we're good with it. So, a guy heard me talking once about how I made an air cleaner for my Fiat out of a Hunter ceiling fan. Because it looked like an air cleaner. The next week, wouldn't you know, the guy calls in and says, hey, listen, I heard you guys work on ceiling fans. Can you help me diagnose my... So, having an electrical background, I said, yeah, what do you got? We helped this dude fix his ceiling fan. So, it's all good. We're not pigeonholed into any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
well, I know,
as you know, yeah.
Your radio show is really, really good. And I don't know how you can diagnose a problem with a guy telling you on the phone what it is, but you guys can do it, because I have people send me messages all the time. Hey, I got a Pat car engine and it's doing this, this, and this, or they'll come up with some kind of, FMI code or something like that. What I need to do. And it's hard to diagnose a vehicle over the phone or through text or email or whatever, and it's really tough to do, but you guys do it. Y'all do a great job with it.
Thank you. It's damn near impossible. You're right. And all we can hope to do is really just move people in the right direction to getting their car fixed. And a lot of times that means, hey, take it to a shop. Go to a professional who knows what they're doing. Don't be screwing around with the the DIS ignition. This isn't like a points, a Chevy with points and plugs in it, from the 60s. So that's what I was going to say. Our show is morphed to the point where now, since people can't work on their own cars, we shuttle them to where they can go, and we give them advice to how to get that car fixed. But the beauty of it is we've gone through a few iterations of hosts, co-hosts, and the current form is Chris Switzer and myself. Chris and I did the show for 16 years together, and then he left a while, and we brought our friend Joe in. And now Joe had some health issues, so he's on the sidelines, and Chris came back. The beauty of it is Chris and I have always had this entertainment value. And you listen to the show.
Right.
If I say A, he says Z. If I say black, he says white. And it's not to be competitive or not to be argumentative. We literally don't agree on anything. I mean, if we're going to work
on it works. It's great. I mean, it's great.
I tell people it's the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson, Ed McMahon. You have to have a yin and a yang. You have to have that opposite. And the beauty of it is we make entertainment out of it. So I'm a very diagnostic guy. I like to look and look at trouble code, look through trouble codes, look at schematics, and try and find the correct way to do something. When Chris kind of shotguns it all the time. So you can see where this goes into everything, Clay, with tools. I'm a tool junkie. Yeah, I'm wearing it, I'm all like you. I love my tools. And Chris is happy with whatever junk is in the toolbox that he can, it's like, oh yeah, here's a screwdriver. We'll use that as a pry bar. And again, that's fine. because a
Yeah.
few times, and I mean a few times, he and I tried to work together, and oh boy, like you, I spend a lot of time cleaning my tools, and yeah, I
Yeah.
use my fingernail to clean that little ridge on the socket. I do that with my
Mhm.
with my fingernail to get the grease out. You know, and he throws his stuff back in the box. That's fine. You know, live and let to each his own. But to put us together on a job, oh boy,
Yeah.
we should have had a camera rolling.
Well, speaking of cameras, for my guys that haven't heard your radio show, which they should because it's really entertaining, it's informative, it's entertaining, and 1 hour will go by extremely fast. And here where we live in Central Standard Time, it's 11 o'clock what time your show starts.
Right.
So to get to your radio show, I know you had a little difficulty this last Sunday with the website, the link to the website not working. And I was able to actually go on iHeartRadio, and I found your radio station, was able to listen live there. But tell everybody how they can find your program.
Yes, we do. Like you said, our website is motormouthradio.com. And that's it down here. It's great when you sit in front of your band. And there was some problems. You know, what happened is the radio station had changed the streaming link or something changed with the streaming link. So the old link didn't work. Because if you go we broadcast out of Nassau Community College, and WHPC is the radio station. They have a website as well. And that link had changed. So we're straightening all that out and making all the right corrections so our website will work again.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, you can find us on iHeartRadio. We're also on Spreaker. You can find us on there. And then another app that's popular is called TuneIn Radio.
Okay.
And I think there's others. People always find, you know, other things. But those are the major ones that'll work and get you in there. And then what we do is we put our shows up on our website as a past show, which technically now becomes a podcast because it's pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. So people can listen to older shows off the website if they want to catch up and, you know.
Well, I know I've talked to you about, I wish you guys would do a live stream so everybody on YouTube it'd be a lot easier for them to follow your radio show. And I think everybody would enjoy that, you know, and two, you know, if you needed a little fresh content, you know, in the middle of something, there's always going to be questions asked in the comments. And you guys you're funny. I mean, first of all, you're very fun to watch or listen to. And I mean, believe it or not, a guy can actually learn from listening to the stories that you tell, because you guys have some amazing stories.
Yeah, thank you, Clay. And again, that's what endeared me. That's how I found you. I was looking for a tool review I don't even remember what it was. It was for a Snap-on tool. And your YouTube video came up and I said, wow, all right, let me watch this. And I'm like, damn, this guy's good. He's, you know, you can tell right away the sincerity because you know the tools and you know what you're doing. So I knew right away that I was looking at the real deal. I mean, you know, car guys, truck guys, bike guys, you can't fool us. You know, we cut through that crap real fast. You know, it's like you would, like you can sense it, you can smell it. You know, and you know, like when there's a fake or when the guy's a phony. Same thing. I did the same thing, and I said, man, now I got to start watching all this guy's videos. Oh my God, he's got a ton of them, and I have watched. You know, now I watch regularly. I keep up to date because the content was good and it's endearing. So yeah, now you get to hear the Yankee side of it when you listen to us. But I happen to know you wear a gold chain, so you got a little bit of Yankee in you too. There you go.
A little bit of with a Peterbilt symbol on it.
Okay, very good. Now, that goes back about, I think, over a year ago. I found that little tidbit out. It had to be. I think it was on the tool truck. One of the guys. It was a
Thomas.
Was it Thomas who said that?
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, I think he said you're the only Southerner that wears a gold chain that I trust."
Yeah.
And I said, but I don't think he said Southern. He must have used another word, and it was probably indigenous to how you guys would talk down in your area. I chuckled and I said, "Hey, that's a good it's good." So
Yeah.
yeah, the thing we found is because we get guests from all over the country, and the thing we found a long time ago is car guys and anybody in this industry and hobby, um, they're all doing the same thing and they all get it. We're all kind of the same, just in different areas. We may sound
Right.
different, we may look a little different, but it's a brotherhood pretty much,
Yeah,
and
it
we
is.
embrace that. That's why we
Well, I
like, and we
know
love it. Mhm.
that's one thing that I really get a kick out of you guys, the way some of the slang terms that y'all use and the accents. I mean, people in the South, and it's probably the same way up there. Y'all probably think we talk funny, and it's kind of entertaining just to hear a regular conversation with, you know, between two guys from up north, especially in the New York, because down
Right.
here, I'm a big mob gangster movie guy,
Yeah.
and most of that is from the New York or Chicago area. And,
Sure.
the talk is, I like to hear that slang talk.
Right. Oh, you should hear us. Well, we really get going, But just you mentioned that when we had my co-host Joe on the show. Joe is a stone cold diagnostician. I mean, he eats, sleeps, and breathes computer code. This guy is, and he's technically and classically trained in this stuff, and he came up with some of the funniest things, and just words that you make up. And what we did was we put a page on our website called the MMR Decoder, MotorMouth Radio Decoder.
I've
And
read
what that
that.
is, and that's so people who are not from our area can go on there and look up that word and say, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah,
Because
I
it's,
read that on there. It's great.
you know, yeah, because like the same thing when I watch your videos, that when you're on the Snap-on truck and Joven gets going, when he starts bantering about fishing and race cars, I gotta like, what do you say? So
Yeah.
hold on, I'm rolling that back a minute, because
We also need some captions across the
yeah,
bottom.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Well,
that's the thing.
um, I know you have got the pleasure of working on some of the coolest cars. Um,
Yeah.
you want to tell everybody about kind of this latest restoration project you guys have been doing?
Yeah, well, there were two of the latest ones. Was that the black 71 Chevelle, the super sport Chevelle that I was working on for the guy who owns the shop. I was doing all the mechanical work. He owns a body shop and he knows body. I'm not a body guy. So I did a lot of mechanical work and a lot of electrical work on that car. That one is now pretty much done, except for little finishing touches. Now my 65 GTO came up into the mix, and it went through his shop to get painted. First time it was painted since 1965, and it's not because it didn't need it. Believe me, it needed it. So now I'm putting that car together. And
So that's
again,
your car.
that's my car. It's my personal car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought that back in 1975. I've had that car for a long, long time.
I've had that car longer than I've been alive.
My wife even says, you get rid of all this stuff. You get rid of these cars, these bikes, the tools you get rid, but you keep that car. Because I dated her, when I had that car. So now we're putting it back together. And I'll tell you a little quick story. I mentioned this on the show. Most guys I found will take a car apart, send the body out, and have the body worked and painted, get the shell back, and now start to build it. I did my car the opposite. It did go to the body shop, had quarter panel patches done and some minor work. And I said, give it back to me in prime. And that's how it was for the last 5 years. And I did. The rebuilt engine, put a 5-speed transmission in it, rebuilt the rear end, put in all new suspension, all Global West, tubular control arm stuff. I mean, that thing's it's a G machine. Exhaust, did all of that stuff. Started putting interior in and drove it. So now that it's out of paint, I have to do like finishing stuff, the trim work. I'm paying a polisher a lot of money to polish that stainless that goes on that car. But now I can drive it again. And I think, although I questioned that method of restoring a car, I've seen when guys get that body back and it's perfect, and then they start doing other work, okay, engine, transmission, by the time they get into rear end and suspension and all this little stuff, they run out of money. And that's when you pick up those cars 70-80% done. Those are the ones you want to find, because the body work is done and the paint is the expensive part, you know. And those cars sit and they languish. Some of them never see the light of day, or they get traded and sold. So doing it the opposite way, I think I'm onto something here, because I can still drive it. You know, I drove it before it was painted. Now, even though it's not finished, I can drive it again as I do the finished work. So, yeah, that's
when you can take your wife out on a date. Maybe y'all could go to some of the same areas, you know, that you went to back in the day. That would be cool, especially if you had some pictures of you and her in the car back then. That would be
right. Yeah. Like I said, the car is part of the family. You know, we've had it for a long time, so it is. If you're a Ford fan, the next one down the line is my buddy at the shop that has the Chevelle. He also put his 69 or 70 Mach 1 into the shop for body work and a lot of rust repair. What started out as torque boxes and a few things underneath ended up being metal being changed where you didn't think metal would rust. Yeah. I mean, if I had that car, I couldn't have afforded to restore it. I couldn't have done it. But luckily he's got that shop. So that's going to come back to me again, because we're going to have to put that back together and be working on a Mustang. So, well,
you guys have those brutal winters up there, and you know the salt is just, I mean, it demolishes those cars, you know.
Yeah, we keep the nice cars off the road in the winter. I mean, I do take my cars out if the road is dry. You know, if it's dry, you know, you don't want no reason to take a classic car out in the snow. That's ridiculous. You know. Yeah. And luckily, I'll tell you something, the South is being our friend, because last year we had a really mild winter. The warm air is coming up. It's moving up. And we really had I think, you know, we've had snowfalls. We've had 3 and 4 foot. I look through my old pictures and say, my God, that was only like 5 years ago. The fence is covered. It's a 4-foot fence. You know, that's typical. Last year, I think our total snowfall for the year was maybe 4 or 5 inches. You know, it's maybe 6 inches. So it was a nice.
Well, buddy, I can tell you, we got the heat down here right now. If we could ship some of this up there and y'all could ship some of that winter air down, we'd all be happy right now. It is bad.
I can tell you this. I mean, I'm born and raised up here. So I remember as a kid having snowfalls that were, you know, we made big forts, and you know, we've always had a lot of snow. But luckily where I am on Long Island, and I'm on the South Shore, we get the ocean breeze. So the ocean breeze is warm. And I mean, the island is only, I think in its widest spot, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 miles across. You'll have different weather fronts on the top and the bottom of this island. And we're on the better side of it, because we get, like, they'll get more snow and ice up there, and we'll get the warm ocean breeze keeps us a little more, it may melt a little bit, or we won't get as much. So, but we still will get, we still do get our snow.
You guys get 3 or 4 foot up there and still going. We get 2 inches here, but ours is mostly ice. But when we get 2 inches here, everything's shut down. Like, you won't buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk in any store around here. I guess that's the only thing that keeps Southerners alive in the cold. I don't know, but you can't find it at all.
You know, it's so funny. I have a niece who grew up in Colorado. She grew up in the mountains, Colorado, then moved here to New York and had never seen the beach before. I remember the first time her and her siblings, we took them to the beach on the ocean, and they stood there and went, "Oh, I've only seen this on TV." Like, it's pretty cool, isn't it? And now she's down in South Carolina. So her kids have grown up only in South Carolina. So when they brought them up, we showed them the beach. But anyway, you know, when she was down there, she sends me pictures and said, "Hey, Uncle Ray, look at this." She goes, "We have," like, I'm trying to think, what is she sending me a picture of? It was like this dusting of snow. You could still see the road. And she goes, "People are abandoning their cars on the side of the road and walking. They're walking away." And I said, like, "What happened?" She goes, "Nothing." So
that's the way it is here.
Yeah. Now, my wife and I were down in Tennessee 2 years ago because, you know, I'm thinking about retiring in the next couple of years and relocating, and it's probably going to be south somewhere. So we were checking out Tennessee, And we heard those stories. The guy at the hotel told us, yeah, you get a little bit of ice. He says in the morning and it just shuts everything down. He says, you're not going anywhere, you know. I said, yeah, that's odd. I said, but if I'm retired, I don't have to go out.
What part of Tennessee?
We actually went down to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg in that area because my
Yeah,
daughter,
nice.
my older daughter and her boyfriend have went down there 4 or 5 years in a row and absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, they brought me back moonshine every time, so I fell in love with it too. So, we had I said, let's go. And then we said, we're going to go on vacation. Let's go check it out. We drove down and I said, man, this is like Disney, but stretched out just down that parkway. I was like, that was pretty cool. And then we drove around. I have a friend who's over in, actually, if you look at the way it's spelled, it's Maryville, but he says, no, Ray, it's pronounced Merville. So I was like, all right. He says, get that right. It's Merville. It's not Maryville. Like, learn your Southern. So we typically on a vacation, I'll drive around, 50, 100 miles radius just to see what's out there. And again, we were scoping it out just to get a look at housing prices and land and things like that. So very nice.
I bet that was surprisingly low compared to what you're used to seeing.
Yeah. Well, I knew it would be. Yeah, I know. The thing that got me was when we went off the beaten path, like where his house is, it was, I guess, all farmland. The roads are beautiful. I mean, beautiful glass smooth asphalt, but everything is like off camber curves and there's ditches everywhere. And I'm like, wow, I can see that if this ice is in the morning, people, you're in trouble. And I'm thinking, who the hell's in charge of the roads down there? I don't know, but I'm a motorcycle guy too. I like to ride a motorcycle, so I'm looking at those roads for great, motorcycle riding. Of course, the tail of the dragon is right there, and all that stuff. So I don't know. The jury is still out. We want to look at a few more areas. Look at the Carolinas. But I've been watching your videos, seeing you almost pass out lately, and saying, "Man, Mississippi looks hot as Hades." Oof.
I'm telling you, I believe the porthole to hell has got to be underneath the floor in this shop.
Yeah, you said that.
There's no place on earth hotter than this shop in the summertime.
So let me ask you this. I know from people I know in Florida, a lot of guys will air condition the shop and they use those big plastic curtains to keep the air in. Is that common down by you, or is it or is it just like a Florida thing?
No, I think it's just a Florida thing because, we had a porta-cool up until last summer and the pump messed up on it. We put a new pump on it. And then from the time we quit using it till springtime, the bottom where they plastic welded them together, it started leaking. I finally just got rid of it. We just use it as a regular fan. But we've tried porta-cools. I've got probably 6 fans. Like, you can't even hear inside the shop. It sounds like a jet engine running all the time, but it's just hot.
Right. Yeah, when you move hot air, I mean, anything is better than nothing. Like last week, I was doing some work in the shop on my own car, and I'm in that shop, and it's hot, and I have a fan going, it's loud, and every once in a while, I take a break, go into the office where they have an air conditioner, and I'd sit down and say, the cold would hit me. But then after I was there for like 15, 20 minutes, I was like, damn, like I felt better in the shop. I think I felt better. Like if I can just regulate and just keep working, but I'm trying to learn now as I'm getting older, just go slower and chug. Don't be a dynamo. Don't try to be Superman. Just chug. That was better for me. But
well, I know here, like, I'll come in the shop just to eat lunch usually, and then I try to stay back out of the AC unless I have to have it. A lot of times you'll get overheated, without realizing it to the last second. But it hurts my body worse than it used to. It's like once I get cooled off for a little bit, all my joints start hurting, and it's just like it just fatigues me worse, So I just tough it out till the end of the day, and then I'm worthless after 5 o'clock. Like, I'm done.
Well, I got to say this too. From watching your videos, I've learned that you guys have some really good food down there. So you can eat really good. I'm surprised you're not 400 pounds.
I'm close. That'll probably happen once I, get a little older, start slowing down, because I plan on eating. I feel like my dad taught me at a very early age, there's important things you need to learn in life. And one of those things is fat people get sick and lose weight. Skinny people get sick and die.
Ah, okay.
Have
All
that
right.
insurance there.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I never thought of that. Yeah. 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 Wow. So
Well,
I
I
noticed that,
know,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I noticed that through your, the different channels like with Diesel Medic and Koon Trucking, you guys seem to be you're pretty busy down there. Have you thought of expanding with personnel or anything, or is it? And if you are, how hard is it down there to find good help? Because believe it or not, even up here in this day and age in New York in 2020, guys don't want to go and work in a shop. Everybody wants to, work a scanner or do computer stuff. Nobody wants
Or
to.
this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nobody wants to touch a wrench. They want to know they have to buy tools, and God forbid they have to get dirty. I mean, that was my way of life. That's how I grew up. But, is it the same down there by you?
Well, I've got, I've thought about trying to get bigger, but honestly, I think that's where a lot of guys will mess up. Like I've got a service truck and it's old, it's paid for, all the equipment in it's paid for. I don't owe a penny on anything that's in it. And I wanted to get a newer one. I thought about getting a new one last year, but at the end of the day, if I'm broke down on the side of the road in a 379 Peterbilt, I don't care if the guy drives a Pinto up there and gets me going. Yeah. Why should I pay $1,600 or $1,700 a month payment on something? That's $1,600 or $1,700 a month I could use to put in a savings account so I can get out of this hellhole quicker, the way I look at it. So,
sure.
I don't know. I want to have nice tools. We've got a nice new pickup that we use for a personal pickup.
Right.
And I think I want to just try to, I'm looking like used to, I want all the coolest, greatest, newest, latest, awesomest stuff. Yeah. And now I'm kind of looking down that road like, I don't want to work till I'm 70. I want to sit on my porch, eat pimento and cheese sandwiches and drink cold beer. That's right. Where I want to be. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah.
I like a good sweet tea. So let me ask you this. For you to say you like nice tools is like the Pope saying he kind of likes religion. Because how many ratchets are you up to now? I know the last count, I lost track when you were at 60.
I don't know. Oh, I've got way over 100. I probably got 50, 60 snap-on ratchets,
Okay,
I don't know. I just, and a lot of them I'll never ever use. Like, and I bought them purposely to collect, especially like the colored heart handles. I'll never ever use those ratchets. And the Matco pink ones, I bought those because of the breast cancer. And, I think every guy's kind of got a little thing that he collects or he's into, and ratchets are just kind of my thing. And, that goes back to when I was young. My dad had nice tools. And when I was 15, actually that old red toolbox that usually sits on this table in my videos, that was my first toolbox at 15. Yeah. And it was a Craftsman starter kit that 120 something pieces or whatever. I remember the ratchet. It's a USA made ratchet. It was a decent ratchet, but it wasn't a snap-on ratchet. And I always wanted a snap-on ratchet. And after we graduated high school, one of my best friends was a snap-on dealer. Like he worked at a transmission shop for a while, and then he bought a snap-on truck. He's got the same route that Hamilton's got now.
Okay.
And so I always lusted over those snap-on ratchets, and that was kind of what pushed me into the ratchet collection, I guess, is I always wanted something that long. And when I finally got to where I could afford it, I wanted to just have a bunch of them.
Right. So, being in the business, when did you actually make the jump to the tool truck, to buying the tool truck tools as opposed to, because I remember I used to go to Sears, ride my bicycle down to Sears, and they always had that like 120 tool piece set up on the wall where you could look at it and say, oh my God, like someday I want that, Never got that giant one. I had smaller ones, of course, but what was the jump off point for you? Was it when you were working in the shop already?
Well, no, I mean, I had, Craftsman and Cobalt and, um, I'm trying to think of some of the other name brands, Crescent, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I never really,
I still have a proto ratchet that I had back in the day. I mean, back from the 70s. And I tell you, this thing is flat and
mhm.
thin. I mean, it's got like, 3 teeth in it, of course, it's very coarse, but compared to what the ratchets are today, I'm going to measure it. I know it's a thinner profile than even the new ratchets are today. And that's going back 40 something years. And I always
Mhm.
loved it because I had like kind of a pear-shaped head and that
Yeah.
flat top, and I still have it. That was a cool
Does
company.
the screws go in from the anvil side or the top side on those?
I think it goes in from the anvil side.
Hmm.
I
I've
think.
got
I
one
don't
of
know. I
those,
haven't.
and I'd have to tighten the screws up because they would back out a little bit, and you'd hit them on
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
I put Loctite on them. I hope I don't ever have to put a kit in
Oh,
it because.
see, now I think about it. Back when I was younger, working on stuff, even in my teens and early 20s, with whatever tools I had, I always took care of my tools. But I don't like it. Didn't phase me what ratchet I used or what wrench
Hmm.
I used, as long as it got in there and got the job done. Now I'm a snob. Now I'm a tool snob. It's like,
Me
no, man, I
too.
need that. I need that 90 tooth ratchet. Like, you know, and like, gee, what length is going to be perfect for this job? It's so that I've grown into that. But I'll tell you, I remember I worked at an auto electric shop for many years, and they had Snap-on tools in the shop, and that's where I started making my transition. I had bought a brand new set of Craftsman American and metric combination wrenches, and so happy I got these new wrenches. Put them in my Craftsman box. I had a Datsun 610 that had a independent rear end with half shafts. And I went home that weekend. I went to change the universal joints. I did buy the Snap-on big C-clamp U-joint press, which I still have.
Hmm.
And I put that open end wrench, I had to use the open end side on the nut of the half shaft. And as I pulled, I felt the open end spring on me.
Spread. Yep.
I got to tell, and I went back to the shop and I took the Snap-on wrenches, brought them home, and they didn't spread. And then the
Hmm.
Monday at work, I said, "Who wants to buy a set of Craftsman wrenches? I got American and metric.
Hmm.
They're brand new. They're for sale. I'm buying Snap-on." Because a couple of years earlier, I was changing the ladder bars on that Pontiac, and I had a two. I don't know if they were both Craftsman ratchets, 2 half-inch drive ratchets with probably like 11/16 or 3/4 inch sockets on them. And I was pushing with one and pulling with the other
Right.
under the car, of course, on a jack stand. And the one I was pulling with slipped, came off that bolt, whack, got me right in the
Yep.
mouth. Stand up, I'm spitting blood. Oh yeah, okay, no problem. Spitting more blood. I'm like, damn. What? Now there's a stream of blood. I'm like, uh-oh. So I
Uh-oh.
go in the house. I was living at home. Said to her, "Ma, take a look at this." And she's like, "Oh my God!" Gets a frozen thing of peas and puts it on. Put
Hmm.
my tooth through my lip is what it did. Uh, but then I remember going outside after about, and this is hot in the summer, and finally I'm like, "Damn, I got to go." Like, wow, I got halfway done. I either have to finish this job or put it back together. And
Hmm.
I got to use these. I saw the tool like as an enemy at that point.
Yep.
And
Yep.
for the life of me, I don't remember what I did. If I put it back, I probably put it back together. And that was again, that was when that wrench sprung. I remembered that ratchet,
Hmm.
and I said, "Snap-on. We'll go and Snap-on." And that's when I started buying all my Snap-on tools. And I
Well, I've
tell you,
had a
a
lot
lot of
of
them.
people, leave negative comments, on the videos, like you're an idiot for buying Snap-on tools or any truck tools. It's the same thing as Harbor Freight. No, it's not. They look the same, but I remember when I was a kid, they had those fake Converse
Yeah,
shoes. You could buy them, like the dollar store for, $4 or $5 a pair versus 30. Yeah, those wasn't real Converse. They look the same, but they're definitely
right.
not the same.
It was like
But some
Sears
people
jeans.
you can't explain that to some
No.
people that's never used them.
To some people, I just let it lie. It's not worth the argument. But other people, I'll ask them, "Listen, what hobbies do you have? Do you golf? Like, how much have you
Yeah.
spent on golf clubs this year?" or like, what's that putter course? What kind of driver do you use? Now, I'm not a golfer, but I do know that I know what these guys spend on golf clubs, and then interject like, are you a boater? Are you a hunter? I mean, I don't care what the hobby is. You can go nuts, and some of us go nuts on multiple platforms. Just saying, but but that's your choice. If you want to do that, hey, God bless you, man. Go have, but don't be busting my ass because I bought a Snap-on ratchet.
Well, the way I look at it, it's your money. If you want to go buy a $10,000 iMac computer and come home and break it on a table, hey, at least record it. Let me watch it. Yeah. So it's your money.
It was about a year ago. My younger daughter wanted to buy she works, so she has her own money, and she was buying some clothes. She likes good clothes, and she bought a belt that was like $500. I'm like, whoa, what are you, crazy? Yeah, it was ridiculous. But we started talking about the value of things, and she asked me one day, she goes, Dad, why do you spend money on Snap-on tools and on the macro tools? And I explained to her, I said, that's a good question. I said, because they're quality tools. I can make money. I do make money with these tools, and there's a tool guy that comes, so I can exchange them. I said, they are more, I went through the whole thing, explained the whole thing to her, and she got it. And I said, I told her, you appreciate good stuff. If it's your money, spend it the way you want. I said, that's, I said, because remember, like when I'm gone, you go out in that garage, that stuff is going to be worth what I paid for it or more. Like that's not throwaway stuff. That's like, you sell that stuff. That's worth some money, So
I've always seen those memes. It said the only thing I worry about when I die is my wife will, sell the stuff for what I told her I gave for it instead of what I actually gave for it. So
right. I got a bunch of those on my phone. One of them, I think there's a woman, and she's got nice dress and like a pair of shoes, like expensive pair of shoes, and the husband's like, oh, gee, those are nice shoes. Like, they cost how much? He's got his Snap-on stuff, and she's got the shoes. And basically, he was, comparing it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you later. It's a funny one. I don't remember the punchline of the joke either. So,
well, I know we got to be getting close to our time limits here, and I just wanted to make sure my guys know who you are and have a chance to check out your radio station and your show because it's fun, but I have one request that I want you to do for me and all the guys. You got to say, forget about it.
Oh, forget about it. Forget about it, Clay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we were talking about, I think I told you I do a show tonight. It's called Playing in Traffic. It's with Louis Lee out of Ohio.
And that's on Thursday nights.
That's tonight, right. We did it with Lou Santiago, who was on Car Fix TV and Muscle Car TV. He's in North Carolina. It was his show, and Louis kind of put it together for him. Lou has now gone on to Garage Insider TV. He's going to be filming his own show, so he left us in vision only. He's with us in spirit. He's still around. We're all still friends, but we just kept the show going, and we kind of, there's guests come in and all of that. Louis gets some really cool guests. I became his second, so. Tonight, it's on Crowdcast, and I think that's crowdcast.io. If you look that up and look up playing, ING, N, as a letter N, traffic, playing in traffic. That's how they say it. I think you just have to register as a participant or a viewer or whatever, and then you can see. I know he would used to simulcast it also on Facebook Live. I don't know if he does that anymore. But again, Playing in Traffic and MotorMouth Radio have become kind of synonymous. So the guests from that show come over to the other show, and I have trouble getting guests from MotorMouth Radio to come to Playing in Traffic. Although, Clay, I think I've done it in the past, but I want to invite you to come on to Playing in Traffic one of these nights, because obviously you're camera friendly. A lot of people say, oh, I have to have a camera. Like, well, yeah, it's a video platform, but well, just, some people get freaked out, but, and that's, kind of the secondary show where we kind of, so you'll hear me talk about that on Sunday. I'll mention guests on Playing in Traffic, but, cause that's a whole nother avenue of people. So, it kind of springboards us across the country that way. So that's all right. So fun tonight.
I hope all these guys will check it out. And you've got a YouTube channel and also an Instagram channel, and it's the real_MotorMouth Radio.
Right. Twitter and the website is just MotorMouth Radio. Well, MotorMouthRadio.com is the website, but
okay.
Twitter. And I'm not that big. I thought that was cool, but I like Instagram a lot better. I do too. I like all that. Yeah. Plus it goes right. It'll post right to your Facebook page. We do have a MotorMouth Radio Facebook page, and that's where we keep everybody up. But one of the things we talk about on both shows is that you may love is we say, hey, you know what? You know somebody who? Yeah, I got a guy. Like, who's the guy? Yep, it's like, well, I got this guy. And if I don't have this guy, I tell you what, I'm going to give you the guy's number, but I'll give you another guy's number because if that guy don't work out,
my guy knows a guy.
That's right. My guy knows a guy, and if he gives you the number, and up here, that's sacrosanct. That's golden. If you get the guy's number, it's like everybody it's almost like a law. Like you have to do the right thing, And I like that because it's that old school value of community. Like you used to take care of your neighbors. You took care of the people in if there was a kid walking around that looked lost, you would help that kid. Today, people turn around, they're on their phones. They don't give a damn, So we try to keep that going because that was the way. That's when this country was the greatest, I think, and it can be great again. But we just have to put our time in. We have to do the groundwork, and we're willing. I know you're willing because you show it. You fly your colors all the time. So we'll send you the guy. Forget about it.
There you go. All right. Well, man, I certainly appreciate it. And like I say, we'll cut this off and hopefully everybody will go check you guys out.
Excellent. Thank you, Clay.
All right. Thank you, man. Bye.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, guys. Like always, thank y'all for watching the video. Appreciate it, especially you guys that's watched all the way to the end this far. Be sure to check out Ray. His show is on Sundays on MotorMouth Radio. Super awesome. Like an hour will go by quicker than you ever thought. It's a great radio program. And on Thursday nights on Plane and Traffic. But anyway, like always, thanks for watching this video. Check him out, MotorMouthRadio.com. Check him on Instagram, real_MotorMouth Radio. You're not going to find any better content than that. Super educational, very informative, and hilarious. Like those guys are top notch. Very good. Thanks for watching the video. If you like it, hit that thumbs up. Click that subscribe button. It's free. It never costs you guys a dime. That way you will always catch the newest, latest, greatest stuff we have to offer. Y'all take care. I'll see you later.